But God, it just don't get it when there's nothing at all.
So I will be giving you instructions from time to time. So just do what I say and everything will be okay. But first thing is, and I know I told you to sit down, but I would actually like to ask you to stand up right now. You guys can stay. Mary and Katz, please stay seated. But everybody else, I would like you to stand up where you're at. And the reason I'm asking you to stand is because in Leviticus 19:32 it says, "You are to rise in the presence of the elderly and honor the old." And so we wanted to honor you guys today with a round of applause.
But separate's always better when there's feelings involved. Know what they say is nothing is forever. Then what makes love the exception? So why are we still in denial when we know it?
And okay, now for those of you who are in the exercise class, just wave your hands. Exercisers. The majority of you, okay, welcome. We'll expect to have a little demonstration with Tai Chi in a bit.
Now, you know I was born 90 years ago. Right? Do you know where I was born? During my lifetime, early on, some people would ask me, were you born in Japan? You know, they asked me, were you born in Japan? And my answer was, no. I was born in East LA. I was born in East LA, a farm town called Belvedere. If you look at the map today, you wouldn't find it. It was swallowed up by the town, larger town next door, Monterey Park. There was a Japanese guy named Masami Abe, a pioneer developer in that area. He was developing this big swath of farmland for farming. He went to Japan to recruit farmers to come and farm his land. He even built a paved road in the middle of the farmland from the Monterey Hills down almost to First Street. He named the road Coyote Pass Road. Later, the city of Monterey Park changed the name to Monterey Pass Road. My grandfather and his brother and their wives and my father, who was around 9 years old, and his brother came over here to farm. After they got settled down, they found out that the farm was not suited to grow vegetables. It was best suited to growing potatoes. So they quickly became potato farmers. First year wasn't bad. They were able to buy new equipment and increase their acreage. Every year they would increase their acreage. They came here from Japan a few years before World War I started. World War I began in 1914 and lasted till 1919. When the war broke out, potato prices skyrocketed. The armed forces was buying up all the potatoes. It's one of those cases where they were here at the right place at the right time. But at the time the war started, they had the largest potato farm in the Southland. During the war and a couple of years after, they made a small fortune. Prices started to drop, so they decided to return to Japan and retire. My father and uncle decided to stay and run the farm. Later on, my father went back to Japan to find a wife. He found one quite a distance away from his hometown. Their family was silk farmers. He got married and started a family. My older brother was born first, and I was born in 1925. The address on birth certificate was still Belvedere. Soon after, they quit farming. My uncle started a trucking business, hauling vegetables to the city market for the farmers. My father started a wholesale market selling vegetables for the farmers at the city market and did pretty well. He decided to come back to farming. Prices got better. Besides, he was tired of working at night and sleeping during the day. At age 6, I started to remember things and learned we was living in El Monte in the San Gabriel Valley. A lot of Japanese farmers in the area. At age 7, I was enrolled in a segregated grammar school. All minorities had to go to this school until the 6th grade. You couldn't start class until you were 7. No kindergarten classes for us. Otherwise, there was no other discrimination. After the 5th grade, we were transferred to the all-white school and graduated there. We went to a brand new high school, and in my sophomore year, war broke out. My father was taken by the FBI right away and sent to prison. My older brother, Tom, dropped out of high school to help Mom harvest the vegetable crop. Later on, I dropped out of school to get ready to go to Pomona Assembly Center, where we were to be confined behind chain link fence. I found a job working in the mess hall at $16 a month. I was 15 years old then. My father was released from prison and met us at Pomona Assembly Center. They couldn't find any so-called criminal activity, so they released him. After 6 months, we were transferred to Heart Mountain Relocation Center in Heart Mountain, Wyoming. Again, I found a job working in the mess hall as a dishwasher. It was good and bad. The bad part was my grades in high school started to drop. So in my senior year, I quit working and concentrated on my studies. But still, I graduated with poor grades. My father was looking for 10 farm workers, so I signed up with 4 of my friends. We were paid 65 cents an hour, plus room and board, worked 10 hours a day, and 6 days a week. After harvest was over, we came back to camp. I went over to camp employment office and found a job working in a water plant in Cleveland, Ohio, making portable water storage tanks out of fiberglass cloth for the Army. That paid 85 cents an hour, plus overtime, plus bonus for making over limit. But we had to buy our own food and found an apartment to stay. When the war ended, everybody working got laid off. Over 450 workers from different camps were laid off. Luckily, I was able to meet up with my family on a farm in Idaho Falls. The owner of the farm gave my family a nice house to stay in. I was working the next day where it was harvest time. When harvesting finished, I worked at a turkey processing plant, pulling feathers off of turkeys clean for the holidays. After that, there was no more work to be had, so we came back to California and landed in Pomona, where this guy was farming to stay out of the draft. He gave up farming. My father was able to take over. We had no income until we started to harvest what was planted. We farmed at Pomona for about 3 years when the water level started to drop at the pump. We bought a house in West Covina and started farming there. In the meantime, about 6 of us from the countryside joined a club called Nisei 20, sponsored by the city of Los Angeles on Boyle Avenue in Boyle Heights, just over the bridge from Little Tokyo. One winter, we decided to go on a snow hike. To fill the chartered bus, we asked friends to join us. We found a place for the toboggan. Nobody wanted to take it down, so I volunteered to take it down. There were 2 or 3 girls on the back, and I told them, when we get to the bottom, lean to the right, avoid hitting a tree at the bottom. I think we leaned a little too much, and the toboggan fell to its side and just glanced off the tree. Mary was sitting in the back and bruised her arm. Later on, I went to see her at her home. Since then, I found myself seeing her pretty often. And first thing you know, we were married. We lived in Arcadia, where me and my younger brother, Bacon, opened up a fruits and vegetable market. We were doing pretty good, I thought, and then we decided to open a medium-sized supermarket with another partner in Bellflower. Things seemed like we were going to make it until recession came and things looked bleak. We didn't have the experience to cope with it. A small chain store bought us out and saved us from disaster. The owner of the small chain store, 15 stores, made me a manager of the produce department 6 days a week at 9 hours a day and union wages with medical, dental. It's really luck on my part when my family was growing. We bought a house in North Torrance, even though we didn't have the down payment. The owner lent us the money so we could buy the house where we still live today. All of our 6 kids, 4 boys and 2 girls, went to Sunday school here at Gardena Valley Baptist Church. It was rough going for Mary. She had to bring the kids up all by herself. I vowed that I would make up to her when the time came. I didn't hear her complain at all. The washing machine was going all day long, and she had to get out in the hot sun to hang the clothing outside. She was getting awfully suntanned, and then a miracle happened. Our washing machine broke down. While getting it repaired, we took the laundry to the nearest laundromat. Wow, you could wash using 4, 5, 6 washing machines at the same time. Same with the dryer. We had the laundry done in 2.5 hours or 3 hours. Washed, dried, and folded and separated. No more sun time for Mary. Even when we had the washing machine repaired, we took the laundry to the laundromat. Can you imagine how many graduations we went through? 6 Lincoln Grammar School, 6 Casimir Middle School, 6 North High School, and some college level. Now we're going to our grandkids' graduation. We even flew out to Chicago to our granddaughter's graduation at DePaul University. That was a memorable trip. Luckily, most of our kids married early and left the house, so I was able to take Mary to Japan, China, Hong Kong on a 17-day trip. A few years later, I took Mary to Europe on a 17-day, 8-country tour. But Mary caught a cold in Paris, our last stop. I said to myself, I'm bringing back Mary to Paris when I get a chance. Sure enough, 2 years later, I saw this ad in the LA Times travel section. One of the largest travel agencies in France, who had their own airline and many connections with hotels, had a tour to Paris, 5 nights and 6 days for $640 plus airport tax, with continental breakfast every morning with a boiled egg. I made my own itinerary before leaving the house. Some attractions closed early, some stayed open till 9 at night. There were 13 subway lines crisscrossing Paris. It made it easy to sightsee till 9 at night. There was a bakery deli next door to our hotel. We had a late night snack every night. I retired from work early at the age of 62, bought a new Chevy Astro van and a fairly new high-low travel trailer. The kind you press a button and the top goes up for living, and press the button again, the top comes down for traveling. It had a bathtub, sink, toilet, closet, 4-burner stove, oven, sofa, dining table for 4. We traveled up and down the coast all the way to Vancouver, Canada, to the north, and to the south, all the way to Sonora, Mexico. Mary was still working at a Japanese language school in the English department and had 5 mini vacations of 2.5 weeks each year. So it was perfect to take 5 mini vacations of 2 weeks a year. I took Mary to Seattle to see her friends and to Frisco every year to see her friends, and stopped at Monterey and Carmel, her favorite places. Stopped at Santa Maria to visit her sister. She liked to travel to Arizona and New Mexico and Sedona. Also, I took Mary to Vegas since 1964 to see the shows which she liked to see. I was able to take her to see Barbara Streisand, Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, and many others to the dinner shows. One thing I liked about the dinner show is if you go early and get in line, you can get a table seat near the stage. First come, first serve. Then they discontinued the dinner show and went with stadium seating. Prices went up and no dinner. Since we've seen most of the shows a few times over, we decided to go see a movie instead. In the last 3 years of our time in Vegas, we drove to Sam's Town Hotel to see a movie. Tuesday was senior discount day at Sam's Town Hotel. You sign in at a machine and get a coupon for $3. Take the coupon to the cashier and pay $3 for a ticket to the movie. Save the ticket stub. After the movie, go to TGI Friday restaurant in the casino and you could order anything on the menu for half price with the ticket stub. Our choice on the menu was lobster and baby back ribs. Buy one and get one free. Every 2 months, we would have lobster and baby back ribs for 3 years in a row. People used to tell us, "You mean to tell us you drive all the way to Vegas just to see a movie?" Next day, if you go to Orleans Hotel, they have 17 movie theaters, and 2 theaters is set aside for Art Deco movies. That is, movies made in foreign countries like Brazil, England, France, Italy, China, even Japan. They are really good movies to see. After the movie, go to the back side of the theater. There's a small food court of 6 stalls. One of them is an Italian place where they have the best pizza anywhere, a large chunk of vegetable dish, and freshest salad in town. After we leave the hotel, no use playing the machine in Orleans because their machines don't pay out as good. We stopped at Arco gas station on the side street where the locals go. They sell gas at least 45 cents a gallon less than in LA. Then you head for the home hotel, Main Street, to play the machines. First, you need to join the Players Club at the Players booth. It's free to join. You will receive a plastic card with your name and card number on it. Ask for an extra card. Give the extra card to your wife so she could insert the card in the machine she is playing on to get points on your card. This way the points add up twice as fast. The reason for this is when you finish your stay at the hotel, you will have enough points so when you get home in a couple of weeks, you will receive a postcard saying you have qualified a free room within the next 2 months. We were getting free rooms most of the time in the last 20 years or so. After a while, you could get free meals with the points once in a while. In the year 2000, lots of things happened. The computer craze. When everybody was buying a computer, I didn't know what a computer was. So I enrolled in a computer class here at an adult school on 182nd Street. Found out I needed a computer to practice on. We had a family room where it was quickly becoming a storage room. Perfect place for the computer. While cleaning up the storage boxes, keep this, throw this out. I came across a piece of paper that looked important. As I looked at the paper, it was signed by Pastor Ron Matsuda. And on top, Mary's name was on it. She had finished this course and now was a member of the church. Mary hasn't been going to Sunday church service lately. I went to the front room where my oldest daughter, Susan, was visiting. When I showed them the certificate, my daughter said she would transfer from her church if I would come to church service every Sunday with Mom. I said to myself, that's a big change to make for her. When her and her husband was founding member of Gateway Hope Chapel, next Sunday, Mary and I started to come to church service and made some new friends. In the meantime, I was busy attending this exercise class at the Gardenia Rush Gym on weekdays, Tuesday and Thursday. For about 7 years, I worked and studied hard and became an assistant. Before you know it, I was the head instructor. I asked my friends if they would come to exercise class with me, but none would come. So I said, well, I'll start a class at South Park, outdoors, in the shade of trees, in the morning air. 5 couples showed up for class. Soon enough, they were catching on to 7 different exercises they were being taught. Then our friend Tommy and the former wife wanted us to come to the senior housing across the street from here, a couple of blocks over, and use the social hall to practice our exercise. We were there a few months when people from church wanted us to come over and use the old CE hall. We got the okay from Pastor Ryan, and I started the exercise class there. Before you know it, it was full. After a couple of years, word got out that the church was to demolish all the old buildings and build anew. We had to find a new place for our exercise class. Luckily, our exercise class members, Harold and Reiko Kubata, knew a friend at Merritt Park, a huge housing project of 55 townhouses across the street next door to Pacific Square. They have a large recreation hall that we were able to use for the next 3 years or longer. When the new building was finished, we were able to move into this beautiful community hall. We've been here ever since, and we'll be here forever. We have been in existence for over 15 long years. We have 3 members who have been with our class from the very beginning, Shiro and Bernice Nagaoka Siwazi. Oh, right there. They've been with the class for over 15 years. And Martha Tanji, she's over there. And my wife, Mary, had been with us from the beginning, but she hasn't been coming to class the last few months, but she said she will be back. I'm no longer the head instructor because of age and illness. I turned the class over to my able assistants, Shirley and Eddie. Mary, you want to come up here? Stand up here. No? Mary and I want to say thank you to all of you here today, especially for letting us be a part of your life. And also, whenever there's a party or gathering, we are always surrounded by you, our friends. We cherish our friendship that you are showing. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Mary and I, thank you.
Also, little did I know when I first came here to sign up for the exercise class that I would end up taking Cass's place. He's very persuasive. I think I was here for 3 months and he said, come on up here. Good exercise for you. Good training. So I would come up there and be an assistant leader. That was only 3 months. And then little by little he'd say, okay, now why don't you call out the exercises? And it was like, oh, I don't think I could do that. No, it's okay. Good exercise, good training. So I find myself saying the same thing to the classes now. Please, if anyone wants to volunteer, come on up, give me your name, it'd be good training for you. Anyway, thank you so much for starting a wonderful ministry. I appreciate it.
We are, as your children, very proud of what you've been able to accomplish in the class, and all of these people here to celebrate. Mainly, many of them brought in through this exercise class, so we're very proud of you. A couple others that we can find in Proverbs: listen to your father who gave you life, and don't despise your mother when she is old. Honor your father and mother so that that you may have a long life in the land that the Lord your God has given you. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, because this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, that it may go well with you and that you may have a long life. So we honor you, Katz and Mary, and we're just so happy to have you here today with us. So thank you. And let's give them a hand for...
And Kaz has been coming to our meeting every 2 times a month, faithfully for the last 10 years. And he has taught the seniors how to exercise. And we really appreciate all the time and effort that he has put into this program to make it such a big success. Unfortunately, most of us are getting older and we are unable to do all the things that we used to have to do. But Kaz has been so good, and he even made these bars and gave it to everybody so that we could exercise with the bars. And he has been a good teacher. You can see how on the video that he goes very slowly and he explains everything carefully. And so we the senior, appreciate that very much. And we want to thank you, Kasumi, for coming to our help every twice a month for the last 10 years. And we really sincerely appreciate that we could continue to have you here. Thank you.
15 years ago, I started the Tai Chi class with you at Rush. And here, look at you, you're a leader in the whole community. I'm still a beginner in Tai Chi, but we're planning on coming back to your class and Shirley's class. But thank you so much. And your life story was wonderful. Kept us all hypnotized. It was a beautiful story. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday.